Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Shamrock Show, episode 2. I'm sitting here with my friend Steve Tefft. You know him as the Ink Master, winner of season 2 of the Ink Master on Spike TV, which is now the Paramount Network. You catch him on Return of the Master, and he says he's been on 5 times.
Yeah, a bunch of redemptions, mostly it was to help people out, and then I got called out once for a tattoo that the girl liked when she left, but then thought about it and hated it, so I got dragged back to be ridiculed on TV.
Oh, that's a good time, man, huh? Good old-fashioned tar and feather.
It's all fun when you're being set out. That's awesome.
Oh, well, Steve, I wanted to talk to you a little bit, in this area, everybody knows you. Even before, outside of the show, 12 Tattoos, owner of 12 Tattoos in Groton, one of the most, probably the most well-known tattoo shop in the area. Bunch of excellent artists out of there. When you see work that comes out of there, you know pretty much that it came from 12, man.
That.
Yeah, no, you got a bunch of good guys over there.
Yeah,
man.
I think so. You got to weed some out, and it is what it is.
Right. Some
Business,
come and go, but you got some guys that have been there really, really long time, right?
I apprentice most of them, so they usually stay pretty loyal.
Yeah, and so you're celebrating 10 years in the business, right?
10 years. To be honest with you, I never saw it coming. Just like everybody else, you get up, you go to work, and some things work out, some things don't. And I happened to, I started tattooing like 28 years ago when it wasn't fun and it wasn't cool, and everybody thought you were a scumbag, and luckily it worked out.
So how did you get into the tattoo industry to begin with?
Honestly, I think I was like 6 or 7, and my next door neighbor had a Grim Reaper on his arm, and I said, "Mom, what's that?" And she said, "That's a tattoo." I said, "I want to do that." And ever since then, I've always wanted to learn.
Were you always artistically inclined?
Always was drawing and stuff like that. The funny part was, though, I was always drawing dead things and monsters. And so in kindergarten, they called my mother and they thought I was abused because I would stay in recess and just draw bloody-eyed monsters.
Right.
And my mom's like, no, he's fine. He just likes this stuff.
Yeah.
And ever since then, every couple of years, I get dragged into the office because they're like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, why?" Because in 4th grade, we had to make a placemat for Thanksgiving, and mine was a severed head.
I can see why you get dragged
into
the
office. So I keep getting dragged in, and then my mom's like, "No, he just likes the stuff." So I guess I was meant to do what I do.
Right. So before you went on the show, was 12 in existence already?
Yes, 12 was in existence.
But it was up the road more, right?
For 2 years, yes. I was at the Advanced Back and Neck.
Yeah.
That's where I started. And then 2 years after that, I got this email to go on a TV show.
Yep.
And I watched season 1, and I actually got tattooed by the winner before he was even on the show, Shane O'Neill.
Okay.
So to be totally honest, I started dating this stripper out of Providence. And
a lot of good stories start that way.
And bad ones.
Suave knows.
Might have been the same girl, to be honest. I didn't want to get that far.
Shout out to Suave behind the camera.
We'll blur the names out to protect the innocent. But so true story, smoking hot girl. I know she's a stripper from Providence, but she wouldn't put out. So I'm like, God, how am I gonna get this chick, to loosen up?
Yeah.
So I said, hey, I gotta go try it for a TV show in Manhattan. Do you want to go for the weekend? Actually, it was a Tuesday. That's right. I had to go for a Tuesday, so we went Monday night. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, listen, if you take a girl to New York, you take her out to dinner, you're in Manhattan. If you can't close the deal, man, just shut it down. It's over. Yeah. Your life is over.
Just turn in your man card at the door.
Yeah, literally. You can start transitioning anytime you want. So, long story short, not even thinking of the show still.
Yeah.
We drank till literally 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
My casting call was at 10 a.m. So on 2 hours of sleep, I show up to this interview, and I think I did well because I was so hungover. Mm-hmm. I wasn't nervous or anything. I was just thinking don't throw up.
Right.
So long story short, they're like, all right, can you come back? I'm like, sure. So a week later, I went back, did on air. Was so nervous. I found a bar across the street called the Pig and Whistle, and
I know where that is.
Blasted 5 quick shots.
Yep.
And I walked in there, dude, glowing.
It's a good bar.
Glowing.
Yeah.
I was on the verge of being wasted. And told a few jokes, And basically, they're more about, they like your work, but they want personality.
Right.
They want you to act up.
Because you're a great artist, but there's a million great artists.
There's a million, and what separates, and most really good artists are either antisocial or just not really into the TV thing.
Right, right.
So it's kind of hard to film. You know, I could take 5 of the best artists in the world. They probably wouldn't say 2 words to each other for 6 months. So
Right, right. Because I guess, you know, when you think of artistic people, a lot of them do kind of be like the creative people in general do kind of, their mind works differently. They do kind of stick to themselves a lot. If you think of like the artsy kids you knew in high school and stuff, they weren't also the people you were thinking of being on TV. You know,
well, now
what I
being
mean?
weird is in.
Right,
It
right.
used to be made fun of, but now being weird is like unique. It's like it's always been the same.
America.
You know, like you've hung out with some MMA fighters. Some guys like to talk, and some guys want to be left alone.
Right, right. That's for sure, man. You know, you get guys who hate the business end of it, which can be the difference in success. And it's not about how good you can fight. You know what I mean? So it's got.
I mean, you run a bar. You know, everybody thinks running a bar. Oh, it's fun. Well, the business end of it's horrible. It's horrible.
Right. I mean, listen, I ran strip clubs for 7 years, dude. Like, people like, oh, you got the greatest job in the world. Like, my man, you have no idea. That's actually when I first started hearing about 12. So I managed the Gold Club for a while in its early days, but I started when it was Silk Stockings. Like, you're a Groton guy. Do you go back? Go back that far? Yeah. So it was. So at one point it was the Del Mar, right? But that's before me.
Yes.
But but when I got involved with the place, the left side, which is now the Gold Club, was called the Penalty Box. It was a sports bar, pool hall. They did like a lot of heavy metal, like mosh pit concerts in there and stuff.
My
it was
band
really
played
dope.
there once.
Oh, really?
When I was in Murder Fist with Joe Dodo, rest his soul. Josh Diekman. Mike Dexter.
Okay. Wow. Dude,
what we call the Murder Fist.
It's a knockaround guys right there.
Yeah, those are killers.
And then the other side, which is now like the juice bar side, was just the strip of Silk Stockings. Right. That was the. I don't know if I can tell. Do you know the story of what happened there? So. I don't even. So, if I disappear, this podcast better get a lot of views. So, one of my best friends in high school. Okay, I went to Griswold. He moved there my sophomore year from Providence, and his dad was a guy. All right.
Okay.
It was a guy, like a real guy, not like one of these guys who says they're guys.
Yeah.
So the guy who owned the Silk Stockings, he was also a pit boss at Foxwoods. His name was Bobby G, and he got in debt to guys you shouldn't get in debt to. And they ended up taking that place from him. Like, if you've ever seen The Sopranos, you ever watch the show The Sopranos?
They walk in and just...
You know, like, it's like a bust out. Like, you know, this guy owned the place. And he was hiding in the office all the time. So my friend's father was down from Providence to, like, keep an eye on things. So me and my boy, like, dude, we would go to, like, the mall and, like, Dunkin' Donuts, looking for pretty girls at these dead-end jobs and bring them in. And then we all started running parties on the other side, too. It was cool for a while. And then eventually... they ended up selling the business to the Gold Club, but the building is still not owned by the Gold Club. I'll tell you that much.
Well, now it's Minx.
Minx,
because I guess they sold one down south or something.
Yeah, and then they sued for because they originally owned that one. I think it's in South Carolina.
Yeah,
they did own that, and then
the name got
right. And somehow they decided Minx was a great name.
It's not a bad name. Who cares?
But the point of the story is, people think they see the A side, they don't see the B side. You know.
Well, you know, a lot of people are local. They've, you know, luckily the area's growing. You know, like when I first started, there was 2 tattoo shops, like 92, 94.
Right.
You know, and now there's like 5 in Groton, 5 in
New London. Right.
5 in Norwich. You know, anybody.
But they do come and go. I don't know the turnover rate in general. Like, I know they say restaurants and bars, it's like 50% close within a year. I don't know what the turnover rate is, but I do see a lot of tattoo shops come and go. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the business aspect. Yeah. You know, people just want to do art, which I get, but then it's like taxes and, you know, you got to promote and it's work.
Right.
So it don't stop at, hey, I'm creative, let's put something together. That's cool, but man, taxes are due and, you know, your rent's going up and blah, blah, blah. You know, all the bullshit that no one wants to deal with. That's what makes successful businessmen successful, because that's the stuff they're good at.
Right. So every time I'm getting a tattoo, I always wonder this. You ever just like totally mess, like while you're doing something and just fuck up?
I messed one up really good.
Yeah.
It was a buddy of mine. He was a Norwich cop, and now I think he works for like the FBI. Okay. So he came in and got 3 initials. Mm-hmm. And it was like RSD or something like that. And he wrote on a piece of paper, and I kept going, oh, RSD, right? He goes, no, that's an N. I forgot how it went. But
Right.
So we're bullshitting. I've tattooed him a million times. I get done with the tattoo. It's the whole inside of his arm. I go, how's it look? It was great, but you spelled it wrong. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So luckily, I could fix it. But I mean, that one was, I was like, really messed that one up.
Right.
Like, I mean, everybody gets a tattoo, like one line might be a little squirrely, you can fix or shade
Right,
or whatever.
right.
But I mean, an actual mess up, that was a good one.
The first tattoo I ever got was at a place in Norwich. It was called the Eagle's Nest.
Oh,
Are you
yeah.
familiar with that? And while I was getting it done, there was a guy in the chair next to me, and he was getting initials on his chest. And, you know, he was like, I was 18 and he was about my age. And they did everything they could to talk him out of it. They like, the guy who was doing that tattoo said to the guy who was doing my tattoo, he's like, hey, this guy's getting initials. It's not his mother. It's not his daughter. And like, you know, like, yo, how long you guys been together? Like 6 months. And they're like, yo, what if I bang your girl? You know, they did everything they could to talk him out of it. Do people get names tattooed on themselves a lot?
They still do. Like, I'll tell you a great story. This one little girl came in. She was a tiny little blonde thing.
Yeah.
And which the name was, just say it was Calvin or something like that.
Right.
No, DeAndre. I remember this now. DeAndre. So I'm like, who's DeAndre? Oh, a guy she only been dating for like a month.
Yeah.
And this girl was tiny, maybe 100 pounds.
Right.
So I go, I'll be covering this up. So swear to God, 3 or 4 months later, she comes in. I got to get this covered up. I'm like, all right, what's the story? She didn't want to tell me. Her friend goes, I'll tell you the story.
Yeah.
She met him at like, what was that place in Norwich? It was famous, the hip hop club, but not the hip hop club.
Oh, like Bella's or
Bella Nottes or whatever.
Yeah.
Name was DeAndre. Come to find out, he was married with like 3 kids, and his name wasn't even DeAndre. I was like, wow, that one hurts.
Yeah, that's tough.
So then, not only did the tattoo cost like a ton of money because we had to cover it up,
Right.
you got to live with that story.
Yeah.
Like, you feel pretty foolish. That one's pretty bad.
I once knew a stripper with 3 names on her. She never even got them covered up. She just added a new one.
Well, you know, she's working it.
Maybe she was a hitman. I don't know.
There you go. She's working it, you know.
So, bring me to the show. You won season 2 of
Season 2.
the Ink Master.
Okay, what I think a lot of people don't understand is when you go on a show like that, you dorm style live with everybody.
Okay.
So where they film is you film downstairs and you live upstairs.
Okay, so it's all one.
It's
thing.
all one.
They're
Your
not,
life
they're
is-
not shuttling you.
your
You're
life
living
is-
in the studio.
Your life is 20 steps.
Okay.
So 2 showers, 21 people. So now the guy that you're going up against or the girl, and you're berating each other's tattoos on camera, like going at it.
Right.
All of a sudden, like, hey man, let's go. We're gonna go eat some, spaghetti tonight, and
Right.
you sit across and sleeping. Like my room had 18 guys in it.
Oh, jeez.
So you're sleeping on these little singlets.
Yeah.
They take your phone. You don't get it back till the end of the day, like at 9 o'clock at night.
Really?
And you don't leave, and no one visits until you're kicked off.
Oh, man, that's brutal.
So you're talking, if you make it to the end, it's 9 weeks.
Wow.
You're sequestered.
Yeah.
It's tough. Like people just think it's tattooing and you go home. No, it's
Right.
mental warfare.
Right, right. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. How much of, so it is a reality show, how much of what goes on there is scripted? Do they tell you like, hey, yo, this girl's gonna do this tattoo, we want you to tell her to like,
They
it was
don't
terrible.
really do that, but let's face it, it's got to be interesting.
Right, right.
But the best thing is when you put people living together and in a competition, shit's gonna go
It's
down.
gonna
So
manifest
all they
itself.
do is they just
right.
nudge some stuff. Like
Yeah.
if I'm over in the corner talking shit on you, they'll come over to you going, Steve's over there talking shit on you, and it just breeds
Right,
contempt.
right,
and then,
right.
man, then it's just
Makes for good TV.
game on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah, you stick a bunch of people in that high stress, it's going down.
How much has your life changed since winning that show?
I mean, honestly, it's been a blessing.
Yeah.
The one thing I do realize, which really threw me off the most, is I lost some, I thought, good friends over just jealousy.
Okay.
Like, blah, 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 look at your life now. I'm like, yeah, but man, I'm still your boy. Like,
Yeah.
when I get into a club for free, you're with me. Right. You're not paying for shit either. So what are you all upset about? I'm the one that's going to work.
Right,
You're just hanging with your boy.
Yeah.
But, otherwise than that, it's been all positive, great for business. Like I said, when I started, it was a scumbag. No one cared. No one thought it was cool. Now, I go casino, people recognize me. It's really cool, especially little kids. It's cool. That's
Yeah, that's cool, man.
That's a really cool part.
Yeah, and I mean, I know when I see you, I do see people constantly always trying to take pictures with you, and
Which is
and
cool.
stuff,
Like I
which
said,
is-
man. Like I tell people, is that annoying? I'm like, nah, because no one wanted a picture of me before.
Right.
Like, ever.
And it's not like you just were like on a reality show like Survivor or something. This is a reality show about the business you run, so it's constantly advertisement for what you're doing. You're paying residual on it.
100%. You know, I mean, to get to not only go on a show doing what you love to do, and then, you know, be fortunate enough, and I mean fortunate enough to win it, is really cool. Because when I went back from Masters versus Masters, my mindset was totally different, and like the show got to me, the drama got to me, the stress got to me, and you know, then you get to do a shitty tattoo and watch 4 million people tell you what a piece of shit you are. It's awesome.
Do you ever go
4 million ex-girlfriends telling you how shitty you are?
Do you ever read comments on like Twitter, Instagram, or anything? You do.
I answer everybody back.
Really?
And the worse they are, the more I'll talk to them.
That's what breeds that. People are going to continue to write negatives, because there's a currency in that. Like, oh, well, the Ink Master, this guy who's verified on Instagram, he responded back to me. They show their friend, like my friends. I don't know what kind of people have that. Like, if I was like, yo, I just flamed this guy who was on TV, like, it was like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
All my friends are real people who got jobs in
life.
Right.
I
mean, this one gay kid on Twitter hates my guts, and he would just berate me every chance he got.
Really?
Yeah, because I made a funny comment. You know, the show walked up to me on season 2 and said, you know, there's 2 girls left and there's 3 guys, and the other 2 guys are pretty quiet. Could you kind of, you know, make it a little more, go at the girls a little bit more, make it. I said no, because I have a girlfriend and a life to go back to. No, I'm not going to be on TV berating women. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You know, so I poked fun on. I said something like, "You're always walking up my studio. The bathrooms always need to be cleaned," or something like that. Oh, that was it. I was the biggest male chauvinist pig, scumbag, hate women. I'm like, it was a joke, right?
Right.
It's kind of a joke. Oh, this kid would let it go. That was 2012.
Really?
He's still on me.
Well, these people do that online who, like, no matter what you're doing, they like to chirp up, man.
But you get the same people who don't even know you go, man, I think you're awesome.
Right.
We love you. I'm like, so you gotta
right, as long
what's up?
Yeah, that's for sure, man. I guess it's good because you don't want to read just the good stuff and let your head get like.
Yeah, because I mean, luckily I'm old enough that it's like I can't imagine.
I know. I couldn't believe you told me you're about to be 50, right?
Dude, this year it's killing me. It's the only age I've ever been kind of like not cool with. I'm not cool with this one. It's not really an alternative, but I'm really not cool with it.
Yeah, you don't really have a choice, right?
No.
But you're still an animal. Can I tell you, this guy drinks a shot of Jack Daniels mixed with Yukon Jack. I don't even know what kind of monster you have to be to drink that. He makes me drink them with him.
I believe it's called a Harley Davidson. And we were pounding those Saturday night.
Yeah.
Dude, I wondered. Yeah. Even I don't really like them too much anymore.
They burnt you out.
Just do some proper.
Yeah, now we got some Proper 12, the official whiskey of the Shamrock show.
This stuff is great. I love Proper 12 because it's delicious, but I mean, I'm a Conor McGregor fan. I mean, the guy's a maniac.
Yeah, he definitely is. I mean, I don't know how much to believe what you read in the tabloids. I can tell you that the product's great. I've met Conor 3 times, and he was always really, really, really good. We have a mutual friend in Dublin, so I go over to Ireland. I try to every year. It's a small country, so it's not hard to run into people, especially, I've made different connections in that business anyway, from the gym. And, I'm at the Sunsets this year. Shout out to Sunset Ribs. Make sure you come through and visit. We've kicked Jameson out altogether. Proper 12 is my house whiskey. So
I'm telling you, it's amazing. And honestly, if you live under a rock and haven't been to Sunset Ribs, I don't know how you haven't, but it's always an awesome place, always a great time. I mean, I've always had a ton of fun there.
I appreciate that.
Always.
That's all I go for, man. Is I really want people to have fun. I don't want I want people to leave like, oh man, that was a good time, And I think people do, man. I mean,
it's a party.
We constantly hit capacity, so
it's a party.
It's a good time.
That's all you want. I mean, what do you really want? You want to go out and party,
right? Which is my own little reality show.
It's definitely. It's not one of those ones you're like, I'm just gonna go sit down with my girl and talk to her in a quiet corner. Yeah, that's not the place for you.
Well, maybe like Monday through Thursday, but not weekends.
Upstairs.
Yeah, upstairs, but not Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Nah, it's a good time.
How much has business exploded since the show?
Honestly, I can't ask for any more. Like, it's so great.
Right.
I have people traveling from Boston and up from Jersey and Georgia. I had a kid flying from Utah and sit 2 straight days.
So that's really dope.
And that's, I think, is the coolest because, at the end of the day, we all we all want to think we made a difference.
Yeah.
Maybe in a little small way. Maybe they made somebody happy today, or like someone came to your bar and had a really good time.
Right,
or
right.
threw a party and like, oh, it went great. You know, these people are trusting me with their skin for the rest of their life. So if they're taking their time out to come see me, I mean, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, man. And the tattoo industry has just exploded because even I got my first tattoo when I was 18. It was 1999, and just since then, you know, I mean, I got a ton now, but like the acceptance of it in businesses, and I mean, I would say that people under 40, it's got to be more than half that have at least one.
Way
tattoo.
more than half. When I started, and you got a tattoo, people go, "Why do you have a tattoo?"
Right.
Now you say to people, "Why don't you have a tattoo?"
Right, and it used to be just like stuff like really flat. You know,
Yeah.
It's really art now. I mean, I've got 2 pieces done by, you know, Alyssa that you saw
Yes.
for me at Sunset. She's
Yeah.
done 2 pieces on my chest. They're artwork. They're absolutely
Yeah.
incredible. You know what I mean? It used to just, like, my first tattoo, Irish kid, I got the Notre Dame thing.
The fighting Irish guy. Yeah, I got a million.
I don't say how many of those you've done. I wish I didn't have it. But it was like I was trying to pick something, you know, and I'm like,
Yeah,
well, what?
I'm Irish,
I'm always going to be Irish. That's not going to change, you know what I mean? So, and that's what I went with. But it's just a flat piece, you know what I mean? There's
the difference is artists are now involved. Where
Right.
before it was you were a tattooist.
Right.
You could have been a guy who can't even draw. They're going to teach you how to tattoo.
Yeah.
Now artists are getting involved, like people with mind-blowing paintings and everything else, and now doing these tattoos that are incredible.
Right.
The only problem I see is they're going a little overboard, like too much detail, too much color, and as it fades, it's just going to look like shit.
Right.
There's only certain things you can do to the skin, and that's the end of it.
So I've never been to a tattoo convention, but the last few years they seem to be like the biggest thing out. You know, I see like
Yes.
there's one in Hartford, you know, one in Providence, all locally. There's a bunch of them. Again, you know, Alyssa's a friend of mine, so I always see her going to these things. You're doing a tattoo convention.
I am. There's been a dream of mine for the past couple of years. I'm fortunate enough I get flown pretty much around the world if I want to go to certain tattoo conventions. And some are better than others, and like anything else. And I always thought, you know, this is such a great area. There's so many cool people that if I could put one around here, I think it would be great. And luckily for me, I've been friends with Tommy Ringwald, who owns Tommy's Tattoo Supplies.
Okay, so that's who does the one in Hartford, right?
He does the one.
I don't know who that, but I just
does
know
the
the
one in
name from the
Hartford.
logo. Yeah.
And me and him got talking, so we now partner up with Mohegan Sun, and it's going to be really cool. It's going to be incredible. We had to move the dates because it was going to conflict with some other tattoo shows.
Okay.
So now it's going to be, I believe it's March 7th, 8th, and 9th, or 6th, 7th, 8th. I don't know the exact dates. Hold on, I'll tell you right now.
This is of next year?
This is of next year. We're going to promote it all this year because we want to make it like the biggest, best in the area. So let's see. It'll be March 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Okay, so March 6th, 7th, 8th. And is this in the new convention center?
It is in the new convention center, yes.
Okay.
Going to be unbelievable. I can't say enough. I'm partnered up with a great guy already who spent 50 million of them.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're going to try to bring the best of the best. A bunch of guys from TV. And hopefully everybody has a good time.
So, as a guy who has a bunch of tattoos, I've never been to it. What happens at a tattoo convention? What is it? What goes on there?
It's a bunch of tattoo artists.
Yeah.
That will actually do tattoos there. And then you can buy like products like piercings and cool T-shirts and any kind of cool tattoo related things. So the good thing is, say as a guy from California or a guy that's been booked up forever that you really want to get, if you know he's coming, you can email him, and then you can finally get this guy or girl to tattoo you that you may never had a chance to get to.
Right. Okay.
So if like a couple guys I was on TV with, you're like, oh my God, I love the guy's work. I'm like, well, he's going to be here. Hit him up.
Right.
You know, get him.
All right, that's what's up, man. Yeah, and I just was at the, well, not just, but over the winter, I was at Wine Fest at Mohegan Sun. I got to see that new convention center, man. They did a great job with that.
Dude, they killed it up
That's,
there. They killed it.
You know, it's cool to live in this area, man, where we have all this stuff going on. Like, whenever I'm at the casino, you know, and I see people taking picture in front of the waterfall or in front of that weird statue, I always wish, like, at first I'm like, tourists. But then, like, I always wish that I could re-see this place the way that people see it. Like, people come here from all over the place, and I go there in my pajamas, like, you know, because it's just there.
To me, these casinos ruin Vegas for me because all it is Vegas is 100 times bigger.
Right.
Mohegan Casino's almost the same stuff.
No, for sure. I actually just went to Vegas. I think it's 2015 for the first time ever, and I was like, okay, like it,
I was the same way. It was like, oh my God, Steve, in Vegas, you're gonna go crazy. I'm like, dude, between Providence and the casino, I can do anything I want, anywhere I want. Like, I get it. If you've never been to Vegas, it's cool, but
if you're coming from like Midland, Ohio, or something,
oh God, you're gonna go crazy.
But Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods are amazing facilities, and Mohegan Sun just growing the way it does, and it's growing in a smart way, and doing things like this convention center where, I know that they get big turnouts for these tattoo conventions, and you're gonna have a lot, like with you involved. You said you're bringing in people from the show, so people are gonna get a chance to meet people who they've only seen on TV, which is always a good time.
Yeah, good time. Like the one in Philadelphia is the largest tattoo convention in the world.
Okay.
So there's 1,000 booths. So there's anywhere from 1,600 to 2,000 tattoo artists in one area on a weekend.
And then if people want information on this, what's the best place to find out?
Right now, the flyers are all going up soon. We're working on the logo. So within the next 2 or 3 weeks, it's called New England Tattoo Expo.
Okay.
Just look for it. I mean, it will literally be everywhere in about another 2 weeks. Billboards, we're going to promote it big. So that way, everyone come down and have a good time and get some cool tattoos.
I'm really looking forward to it. I got to get some work from you, by the way. I've never gotten any work from you.
You do know me, so all you got to do is call me, and
I know.
We can make that
happen. For sure.
Between your schedule and mine, I don't know when that's going to happen, but I'm sure
we probably have to be during the winter.
We're going to have to make it happen.
So going back to Spike TV, I always thought it was kind of neat that Connecticut had a lot of representation. You won the show, and then a couple years later, Brendan won the tournament that Bellator did on Spike TV. So it seemed like the TV stations were out here a lot, and in this area, Connecticut was really showing up. I know you sponsored Brendan for some fights.
Yeah,
as well,
absolutely.
So some cross promotion there.
I sponsored Josh for a little
while.
while.
I sponsored Josh as well.
But I know like a couple kids from like American Idol. One dude was on like The Bachelor. I mean, so Connecticut was really kind of blowing up.
Right. Yeah, the kid, he used to play at Sunsets like years back before I took it over. The Fradiani, he won American Idol, but just this little state is pumping out.
And then you figure on a lower note, you had that kid on Dating Naked.
I must have missed that one.
Yeah, you know that? It was from Mystic.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was on Dating Naked. He had that one kid on Big Brother.
Damn.
Yeah, then my ex-girlfriend was on Dating Naked. That went over well.
Yeah. Hey, I can't picture it. Yeah, whatever. You got me on that one.
Yeah. So Connecticut's been,
Yeah, that's what's up.
All around the TV.
So I know you said that, you guys had to dorm up, and it was a lot of tension in there. Any kind of like real crazy stories, or like anybody throwing down behind the scenes or anything?
You're not allowed to. So the last season I was on Masters versus Masters. This one kid named Josh Payne would not shut up, and the guy always had something to say. So I tried to sit everybody down as a veteran and say, this is what to expect, man. Try to hold it together, and this is going to be tough. And he just kept running his mouth. And we have one rule. Whatever we talk about off air, when we're not filming, because you don't know who's got a boyfriend, has a girlfriend or a wife at home, and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And, there are women there that are filming with you, and they're a door away. So we try to keep, that business or whatever you're doing or whatever you're just blowing steam off about. Just, this dude like to keep bringing stuff off camera, on camera.
Yeah.
So I explained to him once, this happens once and only once. So this is it. You're not my girlfriend. You get one sorry with me. You're a dude. You get one sorry. Are we cool? He's like, man, I'm so sorry. We're cool. Man, not even 3 days later, he did it. Yeah. So I said, stand up right in front of the camera. He's like, what? I go, now I knock you out. Yeah. He's like, what? I go, I already talked to you like a man. We discussed this. We all came to agreement. You keep acting like an asshole. It's time for you to go. So, of course, I got pulled into a different room and a timeout, and you can't threaten people. I'm like, I'm not threatening him. I'm saving you $200,000. You're kicking me off the show. He's getting kicked off the show.
Whether it's 40 or fourth grade, you're getting pulled in the office, huh?
Dude, oh my God. Well, they don't want, I don't know how much money they pay for that show, but man, it is a ton.
Yeah.
It's a ton, But the one thing I can say, the judges are awesome. Dave Navarro is a really cool guy.
Yeah, what a legend too, man.
Dude, he is super talented, super funny, super smart, and yes, every girl on the planet wants to bang him. Like,
right.
It was funny because me and him would talk, and now they bring out these clients, and there used to be a lot of hot girls.
Yeah.
So then they call them canvases. They bring 'em, and he's looking at me and be like some not a very attractive girl with like purple hair or something. He's looking at me and go, "It's your fault. Every time they bring a hot girl, you bang her." So they don't want to get sued. So
I had a waitress that worked for me at Sunsets who actually did hook up with him on the show at one point. She had a piece done from him or something. That
yeah,
was
she had a garter belt.
Yeah, you actually know who I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
She told me some funny stories.
That's funny, man. Yeah. She used to always talk about that at work, like because whenever the show would be on, we'd put it on in the bar.
I don't know. Guys saying they hooked up with people, I think it's a little cooler than
the girls. Yeah.
By the way,
but it's a celebrity. You gotta shoot your shot, I guess.
I guess. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, isn't Brad Pitt, but okay.
Right.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So you win all this money on the show. You want a nice little chunk of change.
$100,000, yes.
Now, was that when you moved the shop? Did you put that into the shop, or was the shop already?
That's how I opened. I reopened the shop. I moved down the road to a bigger facility.
Right.
And I probably spent 80% of the money on the shop.
Okay.
Because it's $100,000 after taxes, 67
Right.
So it goes fast.
Right. But still a nice little.
Hey, listen, $100,000's $100,000.
Right.
I don't care how much money you got. Someone wants to give it to you, I'll take it.
For sure. What's the worst decision you ever made business wise? Not necessarily with that $100,000. But
Open a bar.
You opened a bar?
Yeah, I owned a Rotten Apple. That's who named it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, me and Pat. Two things. Someone once told me, and I believe it. Partnerships are made in hell and get worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. I had no idea that you were involved in that place.
Here's my one advice to everybody. Just because you think you know something doesn't mean you know it. So I thought, well, I'm a popular guy. I like to drink. I'm going to own a bar.
Right.
Well, I owned a bar with someone who didn't know anything about business, who, I don't know. I don't want to bash a guy. It just is what it is. It's closed now, blah, blah, blah. But I learned a very valuable lesson. You need to know a little bit more. Do your homework. Don't just go in there thinking, like, you've ran a bunch of bars. You can't hire someone with no bar experience to manage a bar. It's going to go south fast.
Well, that's the thing with that business is, you see all these places pop up and, like, everybody thinks it's an easy business. They see, like, oh, it's a bottle of liquor. It's $30 and, you get 20-something drinks out of it. You sell them at $8 a piece. Like, what's to know? There's a lot to know. You know what I mean? There's
more than you would ever
know. But that's wild. I had no idea that you were ever in that business.
Yeah, I owned it for 2 years.
Yeah.
And the show hit about the same time. I owned it first, then I went on the show.
Yeah.
So that helped, but let's just say bad partnerships and me not knowing enough. And let's face it, why is Bar Rescue still on TV?
Right.
Because people think they can run shit, and you can't.
Is that on the same channel?
Yeah, Paramount.
Really?
I met him. He was quite an asshole.
He seems like a douche.
He was.
When he's ready to retire, maybe I'll take his job.
I mean, other people met him. He maybe just had an off night. When I met him, he wasn't a nice person.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched it. It's a little over dramatic, and
they're pumping it up now.
Right, man. It's like at some point you run out of stuff to do, so we just going in screaming at people.
You got to look at like when he was doing Handlebar.
Yeah.
The one in Stonington.
Right.
My friend Betsy's place, and I met him, and he was like literally, he didn't care to meet me. He didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, man, like kind of on the same
right
team-ish.
Right.
But whatever. He's killing it.
Yeah, he does, man. But TV.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It does blow it up a little bit.
Well, you gotta do something.
But it leaves people, because people will come into me. I'm like, well, I was watching the show, and he says you should do this like this. I'm like, go open your own place, man.
It's funny. A buddy of mine went to one of his seminars, and one of the funniest things that made the most sense, and you would know this like anybody else. He goes, you can open a bar and do everything right, and you still can't compete with that shithole down the street that does no advertising. The building's falling down. It's just a popular place, and there's nothing you can do.
Right.
Seriously, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yep.
And he goes, that's the one thing in business you'll never get. This one place, roach infested, falling down. People just love to go there.
Yep.
And then you could open bright, brand new, and you'll close in 2 months because people just don't get it or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of tricks in the bar and restaurant business, and not to toot my own horn or anything. I've learned through trial and error, but we do huge numbers, and we're just, dude, you have to look to find us. We're not even easy to find. You know what I mean?
Your destination.
Right, and that's what I go for, and it's really about trying to put out a great vibe, but you see these places. There was a place that was going to open right down the road from us. You know, the building you drive by with the copper.
Yeah, that was like some barbecue at some
Right,
point.
right. But I was watching it, right, and I don't know a lot about behind the scenes or whatever. I know the best of my knowledge it was a money guy and then a brother who was a chef.
That's what I heard, and then
Right. So then I look up. You Google the expert's name. And he's worked in all these places like Tokyo, New York City, like pretty solid resume. Except I'm looking at him, in every place he worked 6 months, 8 months, a year. Like when I get a resume for a cashier and it looks like that, never mind. So then they demo that place. They spend $500,000 on the foundation, but everyone's telling me, "Oh, this place is gonna put you guys out of business. They're gonna crush you." And I'm like, they have no idea what they're doing. They're like, he's rich and this guy's a chef. I'm like, they have no idea what they're doing. I promise you, they have no idea what they're doing. Oh, you don't know, blah blah blah. It's a $5 million office building now. You know what I mean?
First of all, location. Yeah. Everybody knows one thing too. Like I said, everybody thinks they can open a tattoo shop. It's like anything. You got to deal with so many personalities, and and not for nothing. If you're old school and you're dealing with a new crop of kids, they don't have the same work ethic. They relate to things very different than you do.
Right.
And now being a business owner, you got to be on Snapchat and Instagram every single day to nauseum.
Well, social media is the most important. It's more important than the product that you put out.
Yeah, it is.
It's the old saying, perception's reality. The perception you put out has to be better than anything else. You can't just. I see places. Well, they put on Facebook, open today. Like, well, no shit, you're open. Like, you're supposed to be open. You're a business. And you got to realize your target markets, like your Facebook group is now your older group. It used to be Facebook for kids. No. So now you're on Facebook. You got to target your older group, and then you go on Instagram, and it's more younger group, but it's a little bit of everybody. But then you got to hit Snapchat if you want to get those people who are in their early 20s, and then Twitter's a whole other thing. Which I mean,
it's your job doesn't stop. You go home and you lay in bed and. Blah, blah.
Right. Like I make videos for the week. It take me 2 hours to make that.
To cut it up and make it right.
Right, but people but it's giving back to the customer who comes in and spends their money. People like seeing it. They go, I was on the Sunset Ribs video dancing, and people like it. And it is all about the customer and giving back to them. It's a new era. It's a new customer with new expectations.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, too. Like I already told you, we definitely do something, get together, do a big promotion down there.
Yeah, for sure.
Throw a 12-day. Like right now what I'm doing for this week, for 1 week, it started Saturday. It'll end this Sunday, actually a little over a week. For a 10th anniversary, I'm doing if you buy a $100 gift certificate, you get an extra $20 on that gift certificate.
Okay.
If you spend $200, you get an extra $50.
Oh, wow.
And you get to enter yourself into a $500 free tattoo by any one of my artists, even me. So, and that's just a free raffle. So you get one raffle ticket, and then if you buy a gift certificate, you can enter again. So as many gift certificates you buy, you can keep entering.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's only going to go 1 week.
My girlfriend actually won a $500 gift certificate. She won the Halloween costume contest at Harp and Dragon, cool. I think it was like 2016 or something like that.
Yeah, still good.
But no, she's already used.
Cool.
Tommy did a piece on her leg.
Oh, cool.
But no, it's just cool. I always see you out there with businesses, and
because let's face it. I mean, I love the casino, but it's the small guys that keep this whole thing running. And I'm originally from Rhode Island, but I've been in this area now for 20 plus years. So I always want to support the local businesses that I go to. These are my favorite places. So why wouldn't I want to make them more successful so they guarantee they stay in business?
Right.
I don't mind going new places, but it's kind of like Cheers. You want to go where people know your name, and you walk in like, hey, I know everybody, instead of you walk in like, man, I don't know anybody.
Right. So when I was getting my haircut last week, somehow I think I was talking about that I was going to have you on the podcast. I was talking to my barber. His name's Ryan. He's over at Jordan Village Barbershop in Waterford. Great dude, great spot. And he's inked up, tatted up. What's the business? What do you like to inked up? Is that acceptable?
Yeah, honestly, whatever.
I didn't know if there was a lexicon where you're like, this douchebag said inked.
No, inked up, sleeves,
so,
covered, whatever.
Either way, he's got a ton of ink. Great dude. And we were talking about it, and then we got to talking about there was the place in the casino that closed.
King's Ink.
Right. And it was an odd place to, like, have it. To me, it's like, oh, I want a jackpot. Let me get something permanently on my body.
See, the difference was they had a bunch out in Vegas. He was out there in Vegas too.
Yeah.
King Zink. I know him. I know the guy well. He's a very successful businessman. He started way back in the '80s. You know, the only problem I see is just, you know, it's hard. The rents are high. You know, so when you have local businesses, like everybody that works at the casino already goes to their tattoo artist, whether it be in Norwich or whatever. So for you to come in to open one, you're trying to get maybe some tourists.
Yeah.
Well, you know, no one's staying there a week.
Yeah.
So that's where you get your tattoo. Like in Vegas, 3-4 days, I'm going to get a tattoo.
Right.
And it just, you know, to me, it's just a tough business to pull in there because the high rate of turnover, your price have to be so high that no one wants to go because it's just ridiculously priced.
Right. So, you know, when I think of the casino, so like I said, I had Sam Romanella on the show in the first episode, and he was saying, you know, since moving there, it's been great for business because the kind of stuff he sells are some impulse buy stuff, or like, you know, he said, you know, if you have, say, a woman in there and she won big and she's like, oh, my husband gets mad when I gamble, but if I come home with, you know, this.
Makes perfect sense.
Right. But I just don't like the what are you going to get? Like Fox was tattooed on your arm because you just hit a jackpot. It's just the correlation to me wasn't there, which then led us down a rabbit hole. And I would never expect you to talk bad about another place. I don't even know anything about the place, but like, tattoo shop in the mall, dude. Like,
to be honest with you, I haven't seen any work come out of there.
It's just like, oh, hey, I gotta get some socks and a tattoo. You know,
well, the only reason it kind of makes sense to me would be a lot of Navy people in the area, and they don't have. And if you're under 21, where are you gonna go hang out?
Right.
You're gonna walk around the mall. So
Okay.
maybe you'll catch some of that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I guess.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
No.
could've done it.
I never thought about that angle of it.
but to me, I don't know. It loses its. I don't know. There's something about a family or a home with a tattoo shop. You walk into and like, this is my place.
Right. It's just not a mall.
It just it doesn't. It throws me off a little bit. But you know, you got to go with the times and see what's up.
Yeah. When I think of a tattoo shop, though, I think of the vibe. Like every tattoo shop I've ever been into has always had like a really cool vibe.
Yeah.
But it's also very private, and that smell of green soap, which I always thought should be like a Yankee Candle. It's like the best smell ever. But
you might just made $1 million right there.
yeah, right. But I used to always think that, man. I love that smell of that soap. I always thought, I was like, how is that?
Alcohol and green soap.
Yeah, how's there not a candle for it? But when it's in like a wide open area like that, and it's also, you have a relationship with a tattoo artist, I think, because it's a very vulnerable. You're laying there, you know, you're bleeding,
a lot of trust.
You're in pain. They're putting something on you. You have a relationship with that. Where a mall, it's like really getting your haircut at Walmart. You know what I mean? Where like,
yeah, I mean, I get that too. That's kind of like when you, like sometimes a lot of restaurants die in a mall because you don't get that hometown vibe.
Right.
It's just like, say generic.
Yeah.
Or too sterile. You know, and just as far as the vibe, but you know.
Do you find that you really get like a lifetime bond with a lot of customers? Because I feel like that.
Yes.
Like when I have a tattoo artist, I've had a few tattoos I've gotten done. When I go to Ireland every year, I always get something done.
Right.
But locally, my first wave of tattoos, the first one I got done were by, do you know Adam Hillier?
Yeah.
So he was at Eagle's Nest.
Yeah.
And then he had a place, Iron Shamrock, for a while.
Up in like Oakdale or somewhere over there.
Yeah. I've kind of lost track of him then. But then I met Alyssa because she's worked for me at Sunsets, and she's just incredible. And she's done, you know, the last 3 or 4 pieces that I've had done too, like real big pieces. And, you know, like I said, dude, like you're laying there, you're bleeding, it hurts. They're putting something permanently on you, but then at the end, man, it comes out awesome. Like I feel like you put that on me. There's a connection. There'll always be a connection. It's not like
it's almost like when you go to a doctor. Like that's my doctor.
Right.
You go to somewhere else. Like no, you're my guy.
Right.
So yeah, I get that. And honestly, being from Rhode Island, most of my friends that are still my friends, I've actually tattooed them. We became friends.
Right.
From Connecticut. So now, like some of my best friends, I've met them through tattooing.
Where in Rhode Island are you from?
Just over the line, Richmond.
Okay.
It used to be called Alton, but they changed it to Wood River Junction.
They changed the name of the town?
Yeah, that's not even exist anymore.
Really?
I don't know why they did that, because I went to Cheraho High School.
Yeah, I know Cheraho.
Blah, blah, blah. And I grew up playing golf at Meadowbrook when it was the Brickyard. And $17 and blah blah blah. But yeah, I come over here, started tattooing, and I just moved over here, opened my business, and met some just amazing people. We know it's literally most of the same people we know.
Right.
And I love the loyalty.
Which is why it was great
thing.
setting this up, man. Shout out to Chaz to put in the final.
Oh yeah, my boy, love that kid to death.
Great dude, man. He's got my door this year at Sunsets, and that's great.
You ain't got to worry about nothing with that.
Great
guy,
asset
man.
to have.
Yeah, I think so. You gotta, as you know, man, you gotta surround yourself with good people. You can't do nothing on your own.
Right, for sure, man. 12 tattoos, Long Hill Road and Grind, right?
That's Long Hill Road. We're attached to Northern Lights.
Northern Lights, across from what's that? There's a sleep shop in
White Sleep Shop. There's Mint Leaf, Bank of America.
Mint Leaf, that's an interesting place.
That's good food though.
Is it?
Food is great, dude.
Really?
They're banging. The food's banging in there.
I went in there I have a friend who bartends there. Me and my buddy Darren went in there. It's an interesting spot.
Sometimes they were throwing some parties at night, and that wasn't working out too
I don't know. I just thought it was like
food.
There's just so many light bulbs in there, man. There's just so.
That's that new look.
Dude, there's just so many light bulbs.
Yeah, that's the new Edison.
There's like 7,000 of them.
Yeah, dude, you never ate that?
No, I haven't eaten there.
Dope.
Is it? I'll have to check that out, man. Like I said, I have a friend who bartends there, so I have to check it out. But if you're in the area, man, you got to hit Steve up for how far out do you book? Are you booked right now?
I don't know specifically. I think it's end of June or something like that.
But I know you have a lot of other commitments.
I lucked out. I'm going to Germany in August.
Okay.
They hit me up. They do cruise ships on rivers.
Yeah.
Because they don't have an ocean over there.
Okay.
They're not close to an ocean. So they're like, hey, we want you to come over and tattoo and mingle and for like 7 days, and you're going to port and go out and see shit. I'm like, man, I am in.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
I've been to Rio de Janeiro twice, Argentina. I've been very fortunate. I can, New Mexico, all sorts of places. Can't complain.
Man. Oh, that's great. And then March of next year, man, everyone go check out that tattoo convention.
Oh, yeah. We're going to make it big. We're going to make it huge. Hopefully, we make it so big that it's just an annual thing and it keeps growing and getting bigger.
Right. I'll be waiting for my free passes at Wilco.
We don't have to worry about that at all, brother.
All right, Steve. I appreciate you coming on, man.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
Thank you so much, buddy.
No problem, brother. No problem.
Thanks, man.